All right, so this is our drilling and flex shaft station. We have two flex shafts and one kind of small table-mounted drill press. Located immediately to the right of the drill press, the top drawer is where we keep all of our drill bits. I thought that was a logical place to put things when I was organizing the studio. Put the drill bits next to the drill press. Now in the drawer full of drill bits, you'll find a couple of different things. First, sitting on top of the drawer is this huge Harbor Freight assorted drill bit holder. This drives me crazy. Where is this drill bit? I don't know, but it's not put back where it belongs. We also have there will be a few packages of various size drill bits. These are just kind of standard sizes. Drill bits break. They get dull, they get worn out. And so I used to buy really expensive drill bits, but they break just as quickly as the cheap ones. And so unfortunately for you guys, we're kind of stuck with the cheap ones. But we have everything from very, very tiny drill bits for doing extremely small work. These ones are good for fine piercing. They're just small enough to get a saw blade through. And then we have kind of medium-sized ones. That's what's in this box. These are all the small to medium-sized drill bits. We have this container with extremely small drill bits, but these tend to break almost immediately. And then this container is full of the bits that are too big to use with the equipment upstairs. I'm debating on whether or not to take this container downstairs, but there's not a nice place to store it. But these are small tools. They're not made for large drill bits. If you have to open the chuck all the way to get the drill bit to fit in there, it's too big for these machines that are upstairs. Take it downstairs to the big drill press. It's going to work a little bit better anyway. Okay, so getting ready to drill. Let's say I have this little thing right here that I've drawn this little cloud form on there. I want to cut that cloud form out so that it's a negative. What I need to do always before you drill a hole is you need to use a center punch. And basically the center punch is going to put a little dent in the surface of your metal. It's going to give a place for that drill bit to grab a hold of before it drills. Otherwise the drill bit will spiral before it finally finds its own place and drill into your metal, and you'll end up with these big spirally gouges that are really difficult to get rid of. And then also that drill hole isn't necessarily where you want it. Most of the time when we're working in here, we need to be precise, so the precise location of those holes is really important. But in this case, if I am cutting this thing out and I'm going to discard that form in the middle, I'm going to place my center punch on the inside of that form, and over a steel block or an anvil surface, I'm going to give myself 2 little taps. And so now I have 2 little center punch marks for that drill bit to grab. If I'm just drilling a hole, I still want a center punch. Even if I don't care where that hole is, I always want a center punch. And you always do that over a steel surface, because if you don't, and I don't know if this will show up on the GoPro or not, I end up with a bump on the other side, okay? That bump could cause me big problems. All right, so always center punch on a steel block. Something I forgot to mention, when using the center punch, you need to use an appropriate hammer, okay? An appropriate hammer is one that can be used with steel. So all of our ball peen hammers and all of our cross peen hammers and some of our rawhide mallets are okay to use with the center punch. I prefer these small ball peen hammers. Okay, so this is our mini benchtop drill press. It doesn't have a ton of power. It does go at a very high speed, which isn't always the greatest thing, because most of the time you want to be going at a low speed. Too high of a speed can cause heat and friction, and heat is going to take the temper away from your drill bit. Temper is its hardness. So if you see a drill bit that's all black at the end, it's probably been cooked, and so it's probably not going to be sharp anymore. So most likely you should just get rid of it. So this drill press has a chuck with 3 fingers at the bottom of it, and that's what holds your drill bit. So basically, once I've found the correct size drill bit that I want, I'm going to, with my hands, I'm going to loosen the fingers of the chuck. And I'm going to tighten them back up. And then I'm going to use the chuck key to operate, to tighten down. Now when I'm tightening the fingers down, you want to make sure that you're tightening down on the shank, which is the uncut part of the drill bit. So tighten that down as much as you can with your hands. Now we are currently missing the appropriate chuck key for this drill, which upsets me greatly. But we have this kind of, I guess you call it a sort of multi-replacement. The smallest chuck key with the stubby nub is what goes in this one. And so we just tighten, that final tighten, and that drill bit is good to go. So this drill press operates with a foot pedal, but we also have this knob here that we can use to control the speed. If I turn it all the way here, you hear it click off. If I turn it all the way up, when I push this pedal down, it's going as fast as it can go. I can turn it down if I want to, and then turn it back up. Okay, so always, when we are getting ready to drill, we want to drill into a piece of scrap material, okay? When this piece of scrap material gets too holy, we can just get rid of it, you know, if you can't find a nice flat spot for your work anymore. Now what I need to do is, after I've put the center punch mark in my metal, I want to get this drill bit as physically close to that work as possible. And right now it's a little, I don't know if you can see this on the GoPro, but it's a little too close. So I'm going to raise it up. In order to raise and lower the drill press, there's a handle back here. We just loosen the handle and we can move that up so that it's at an appropriate location. Now the reason why you want your drill bit as close to the work as possible, I don't want to have to crank on this handle a million times before I get to my material. Also, it makes it so that you're a lot more accurate. Right now I can just line this up right where it needs to be and go ahead and drill. So I'm going to step on the foot pedal, get this thing going. Now, something that I didn't mention, always, this is probably the most important thing when you're operating any electrical device in this studio, is always wear safety glasses, 100% all the time. If you're a person that wears regular glasses, your regular glasses are fine. If you don't own your own safety glasses, which I highly recommend getting your own safety glasses, we do have safety glasses and face shields, but they'll have to be disinfected when you're done. So when I've drilled through this, I almost always end up with a burr. Sometimes the burr is on both sides. And so I'm going to take a bigger drill bit, and I'm going to twist it on there and gently get rid of that burr. Okay, and then the very last thing to do when we're drilling is to put the drill bit away. Okay, so the next tool that I'm going to show you is the flex shaft. It is not a Dremel. Calling this a Dremel is basically insulting the people that work at the Fordham company because their product is way better. But it's a flex shaft, and basically there's a motor up there that spins, and then through a cable it turns the handpiece. And the handpiece has a chuck just like the drill. It works exactly the same way, where I'm going to put the chuck key in. There's a little opening for the chuck key. I'm gonna tighten this down a little bit because the drill bit that I'm using is pretty small. Go ahead and put that drill bit in there, making sure that I'm not on the cut portion of the drill bit. Now the flex shaft is a tremendously versatile tool. It's typically one of the first kind of expensive pieces of equipment that somebody who wants to make their own jewelry and things like that will buy, just because there are so many different bits and ends and things like that that you use. Most of the time we're using like these little mandrels for cutting discs. We use it for carving, all kinds of stuff, but you can use it for drilling holes. And so what I want to do, it works off of a similar foot pedal. The foot pedal's down below. Let's make sure it's on. It's always a good idea to spin the drill bit just a little bit to make sure that it's in there straight. If you see it wobbling all over the place, then it's not in there straight. So I have my little cloud drawing. Basically, I'm going to hold this flex shaft very, very firmly. Okay, so I'm going to hold the flex shaft very, very firmly. You know, you don't want this thing to move around. If you're being very nimble, you can hold the flex shaft this way. But for drilling purposes, I'm going to hold it like this with the full force of my fist. And then I take my forearm and I'm going to rest my forearm against the bench. Now I am basically a little mini drill press, okay? I'm gonna get this thing going, a nice slow speed. The people across the room shouldn't know that you're drilling. We shouldn't hear this loud squealing sound coming from the drill bit. That means you're going too fast and you're gonna burn up bits. I'm being really, really stable because I don't wanna put any flex or bend on this drill bit. Drill bits are tempered to a really high hardness, which makes them brittle. They don't want to bend at all. Okay, and then once again, of course, you know, always drill into a piece of scrap material. When I'm finished, I'm going to take my drill bit out, and I'm going to put it away. Now, this particular chuck key is a replacement as well. I don't know what happened to my chuck keys while we were in quarantine, but they're both gone. And I'm curious as to why, because I guarantee nobody has a chuck key or a chuck that is that fits this. Doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, this is our large drill press. It's downstairs, right at the bottom of the steps. This is actually a really, really nice drill press. And it kind of bothers me that people are reluctant to use it and use too big of a drill bit upstairs. Once again, pretty much everything is similar to what's upstairs. You have to wear eye protection when operating this machine. It has a chuck just like the others. So I'm going to put my drill bit in. The chuck key for this drill bit should always be located right here. I always hold on to the drill bit when before I tighten it completely, because sometimes it can just drop straight down out of there. So you just give that a nice little tighten. And then here is our scrap piece of wood. We need to adjust the table on this drill press. And it's a little bit cumbersome to do because it doesn't have a really nice handy crank handle. Use this piece of pipe that's always located in this general area to loosen the table. Hold on to the table. And then with both hands, I'm going to move this up so that it's close to my material. Nice and snug. Now to turn this drill press on, this is a replacement switch. You have to push it all the way. And so you need to push it until you can't push it anymore and you hear the machine turn on. Now when I'm getting ready to drill, I typically just use one finger on the handle, and I could have gotten this a bit closer. You need just a little bit of pressure. You don't need to be jamming this thing down. Let the drill bit do its work. Also, hold firmly on both sides of the material with your fingers, because anytime you're drilling through anything, when that drill bit is just about to punch through, it wants to grab your material. And just take your time and allow the drill bit to cut and remove these nice big curlicues of metal, and it'll do a much better job. Some people just jam down on this thing so hard and you end up forcing the bit through, and it creates a lot of mess and a lot of work. Just like everything, we're going to clean up our area, so get rid of your sweeps and things like that, put them in the garbage, and loosen the drill bit, take it back upstairs.